Good morning, everyone. Alright, so I promised you I would tell you the significance of the video, which I posted in the link in the description below yesterday. The significance of that video is that that's a song that created a lot of controversy, but if you look at Jackson's meaning, he was trying to show the world that even with all his wealth, his success, and his power, it didn't stop a lot of stuff from coming at him. And because of that, if it could happen to him, it could happen to any of us. And he was trying to show you, at the end of the day, they really do not care about any of us. I think that was a good point to make. It's an old song. It's not a new one, not by any stretch, but it's one that I've been kind of listening to on repeat lately. But in any case, I want to take you down for just a second because you can see our guests of honor. Actually, our friends, or at least mine. Of course, you are familiar with Odin and Frigg. Over here is none other than Freyr himself, a god of fertility, if memory serves. Right over here we have Thor with his hammer Mjolnir, and right there, Freya, which she came up as our guide in the reading yesterday. And I've summoned all 5 of them to preside over the reading. And naturally, I think they're going to chime in. Let me just get them repositioned for just a moment here. There we go. I think Freuler is good where he is. So they will be presiding over the reading. They will be lending their support, and I thank them all for it. Hail the gods. But I know that they're going to send at least a guide, someone to kind of help them out. So let's get down to that, shall we? And today, the 9 worlds. We've had a pretty intense couple days, haven't we? And here's where we're seeing that everything is connected. What is done to one can be done to all. Remember I talked about that video, right? For all his wealth, success, and power, he couldn't stop the terrible people from weaponizing our system and our government against him, just so they could have a nice payday. And they had already done it twice before. They tried to do it a 3rd time. So that's the thing to remember. What you do to one, you do to all. So please remember that today. And for our spirit animal, well, we have a chameleon spirit, which is really, that's actually pretty beautiful. And it says act as if. You know, I was kind of, just kicking around last night. Just kind of doing some things, just, doing what I normally do, winding down after work, and I remembered a dream I had where they say if you dream of wolves, it's a sign of a sick spirit, but I think it's context. And for me, the dream was I was walking with a pack of wolves. I had one in front of me, I had one kind of taking up the rear, and then I had two, one on either side of me. And one of them just kind of, as we were walking, nudged me and said, you're one of us now. Act like it. So we are actually being called to act like it. So if we're adults, maybe it's time for us to act like it. You know, stop being so childish about things or something like that. If you're a particularly strong person, maybe it's time you actually acted like that. You know. So this is where the chameleon shares a gift with you today to prepare you for changes that will greatly benefit you. See, the outer conditions are changing, and you're required to come into harmony with them so that you can co-create your greatest dream. Feeling sensitive? Good, because that will come in handy, enabling you to determine how best to adapt to your environment and the people in it. At the same time, you'll maintain your integrity and inner equilibrium. Even if you feel like you're in uncharted territory, have complete faith in your ability to fit in, learn the lay of the land, and adapt as necessary. This is a fortunate time to act as if and do as others do, until new ways feel familiar and completely natural. Life is offering you a great lesson now. Adapting isn't about losing yourself, it's about learning how to dance with others. So today's a day where we're going to be thinking of others quite a bit, because everything is connected. And we're seeing a lot of things happen. This is mostly about you being who you are, being comfortable with who you are, not being apologetic about who you are, but being able to adapt that to flow with someone else. Maybe you'll inspire someone else to do the same, and if you can do that, we can truly achieve a lasting peace between everyone, in my opinion. Let's get down to the tarot. So in our past position, we have a Knight of Cups. Present, we have Awakenings. Somehow I knew that card was going to come up. And then we have a Ten of Swords. So, Knight of Cups, we're looking at emotions again. Awakenings, we know about awakenings, don't we? They are messy. And that Ten of Swords, that's always the kind of worrisome card there, because it does signify betrayal. I mean, we got it doesn't really show as much in this card, but usually with this card in like Rider-Waite, we see a body on the ground with like 10 swords stuck in their back. That is crazy overkill. That's somebody that wanted that person out of the way. And that happens quite a bit when that card comes up. But with the Knight of Cups, it's more about this was more about like a romantic partnership, a romantic adventure. So you probably had that in some part of your past. However, that Awakening card, this is the most important part of it, because that's in your present, and right now you're being called to really forgive yourself and let go of those old wounds. You have to now rise to meet your future and do what you're called to do. And that Ten of Swords, in this case, in the context of the rest of this reading, some things are going to end. You're about to undergo a transformation and a release that may come through a betrayal, and it might have been you who did it. But when I look at it, I definitely see something got wrecked. Something got wrecked. Remember how we talked yesterday about you being your own worst enemy? Guess what? If you're into self-sabotage, today is the day to stop that shit, because it's not helping you. Not at all. So, how do we work our light today? So in your past you have Lemuria, which is creating heaven on earth. It's happening. Don't you find that right now lot of people are in a panic. A lot of people. And it reminds me of something Bill Hicks said, but I'll get to that. And your present warrior woman. But it asks you a question. Have you answered your deepest calling? Now this could easily apply to men as well. That inner warrior needs to come out in a big, big way. And finally, in your future position, we have Council of Light. And these are more helpers in subtle realms. I love these cards. These cards are absolutely gorgeous. We have a lot of very gorgeous cards today. Very beautiful stuff. Okay, so going back to that whole lot of people panicking. Sorry, I needed that little shot for a second. Bill Hicks once talked about how people are very, very invested in what we have going on. And he said, life, it's just a ride like an amusement park. And there's ups and downs and thrills and all that good stuff. And a whole lot of people will say, well, this must absolutely be real. I mean, look at my bank account. Look at my furrows of worry. Look at my house. This must be real. But he said, no, it's not real. It's just a ride. A lot of people who are panicking right now, you have to understand, they've gone all in on the illusion. They've gone all in on the ride. Meanwhile, that's falling apart. That's falling apart for them. For the rest of us, things are falling into place. This is also turning out to be a pretty intense reading, but it's intensely good news. But here's the thing. We have to rise up to the occasion now. This is not time for us to back down. This is time to ask ourselves with everything you do. Remember, making life a moving prayer is essential. I don't care whether that card comes up in the reading or not. That is something that you need to do. Because when you do that, when you do your absolute best in service to the gods, your God, whatever that looks like to you, okay? You don't have to believe as I do. When you do that, your best becomes better every time. And when you're used to doing your best, when you're used to giving 100%, you will not want to give any less. That makes sense? I hope so. And here in your future position, this is where you're getting help. If you're doing your absolute best, you're putting your absolute best foot forward, they're going to step in because this is what they want as well. This kind of like heaven on earth kind of thing. They really do want that. And you're here to do that. They will help you. You're protected. Don't worry. But you have to be adaptable. And I think if you're here listening to me right now, and that's you, the one I'm talking to, I think you are adaptable. I think you can overcome anything. And I think you understand how your connection to everything else, even in the most subtle of ways, can influence much larger things to come later. All you got to do is plant the seeds for today, and tomorrow you will watch them bear fruit. Make sense? Okay, let's get on to the runes. That way I can get this thing in the can very quickly. So, for the gods, what secrets do you have for us today? Ansus comes up again, so we need to clearly communicate with others. We have Tevas. Now, this is representative of the god Tyr. This is we are going to be getting some justice somewhere in our day to day. And then we have Eowaz. Now that signifies an end to something. We do see that end. We are seeing a lot of end today. Keep your eyes on, don't get absorbed in it. Just keep your eyes on the news. Keep your ears open. Keep your eyes up, ears open. Let the information come, but don't let it affect you. Okay, if you find it starts affecting you, turn off the news, turn off the TV, turn off social media if you have to. What I'm seeing here is that we are communicating very loudly and very clearly some of the old ways that do not work. And let's face it, some of this stuff, we call it old, but it hasn't been around all that long. We have institutions, we have systems, and we have certain things in place right now. Governments that are currently failing. Look around the world. There are just institutions collapsing. Meanwhile, our nation is also being torn apart. I think Brian said it best, we're in a tower moment. And that tower is going to get torn down, but the very basis, the very foundation, the bedrock upon which this nation is founded is a universal concept that applies to one and all, and it is freedom, it is liberty, and that will remain. But we, you and I, have to begin to do things that we wouldn't normally do. So if normally you try to get out of serving on a jury, serve on a jury. Don't try to get out of it. Stop that. Because that's where you can change things. And all you have to do is that little part. Maybe you don't nullify an entire law today, but you could be the beginning of it. And it might require standing alone. It might require being the lone voice. But right here is where I'm talking about. And with the Tewaz rune in particular, one of the things that it does say is that you will have success in legal matters. But if you're going to serve on a jury today, and I get the feeling some people just might be, don't try to get out of it. But your hard work and your sacrifice will actually pay off. Now, those self-sacrifice, that's necessary to achieve goals. If you want to lose weight, you're going to have to give up the sweets and the junk food and things like that. If you might even have to give up some time so you can exercise a little bit, do a little yoga or something like that, go for a walk. But you see, when you do that, the laziness, the bad eating, the bad habits end. And when they end, you can see that new you start to emerge. And in fact, that new you, quote unquote, was always there. You just had to clear away the rough edges. So this is really a think globally but act locally kind of a day. And I hope this resonated with you. Remember, we love you. We really do. We want to see you succeed. We want to see you prosper and thrive. But that may mean change. It may mean personal change. It may be doing things that you're not comfortable with doing. It may mean doing things you wouldn't normally do. But don't worry, because that old you is passing away, and that old you is looking to do your part. Let's face it, this world will never be a utopia. But perhaps you can plant a seed to make it a little more like that. In the meantime, just know that I love you all. I appreciate every one of you showing up and having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee with me this morning, or having your breakfast, or just spending a little time with me before you leave for work. Have a great day. Today is a great day already, isn't it? It's shaping up that way. The mood's a little lighter. We can feel it kind of shuffling off now. We can feel a lot of things on the horizon that are going to be absolutely wonderful. And judging from the cards on the table and from the gods that are present with us, even those that aren't represented by a physical statue or graphic, I got a feeling today's going to be a really, really great day. By the way, I just wanted to say before I leave, they launched a dickhead into space, and the rocket ship looked like a penis too. Like, how do you not look at that and go, oh, hell no? And there are actually pictures of Bezos standing with that thing over his shoulder, looking like I am far away and visionary, and thinking you're far away, alright. Anyway, love you guys, and as always, shine on.